You know, it's scary out there. That's what I hear anyway. That people don't feel safe out on the street. And it's scary. Now, here's my whole thinking surrounding it. Well, is it quite new? You have to say, was this an issue even before COVID-19 and coronavirus? It actually was. People's whole lived experience is that of being in fear of things that, well, can harm them and cause them pain, agony, misery. And that's not new. You can say, well, maybe we gained some type of awareness of it because now that we've all been indoors for a long period of time, we have time to sit and process and think. And things are being, well, revealed to us about our noble and great society that's been presented to us, but hasn't, well, necessarily ever materialized. But I digress. Now the emphasis is on the streets are not safe. There are bad people misbehaving. Well, that's of course always been true. And there's not very much ever done about it. There's, well, there's a lot of bluster and banter and talk and conversation and maybe a couple of laws here and there that don't really get to the crux of the matter, so to speak. You know, the streets are dangerous. And I wanted to bring up a case that just recently happened to sort of kind of illustrate that. It happened in the United Kingdom, England, Great Britain. Well, this story ends tragically. Sadly enough, a young woman by the name of Sarah Everard, well, she was walking home after visiting a friend. Might have had a couple of drinks. Might have smoked a little weed. You never know. Anyway, she ended up disappearing. Nobody heard from her. So the police started searching, and tragically enough, a week later they found her body. And they've arrested a police officer in connection with the disappearance and her murder. You know, it got me to thinking. In 2018 to 2019, over 11,600 black women and girls went missing in just the United States of America. Now let's put this into perspective here. Over 11,000 people go missing. Well, that's the size of some of our largest high schools and universities and colleges in the whole entire country. And, well, think back to 2018 and 2019. How many of those stories did you hear reported on the news? How much talk did you hear about, well, black girls and women going missing? You know, also not a stranger to the missing component or factor are indigenous women and girls. There's a high number of indigenous women and girls that go missing on reservations or near or surrounding the reservations. They never make the news. Nobody ever knows what happens to these women and girls. We just get told that they're kidnapped or they're missing. Or you're lucky if you ever get told that, because It's like they never existed again. You know, we have a very sick society. And now we're finally realizing how sick we are. But right now it's a lot of bluffing, banter, and discussion. There's no real solutions being offered up. And so I thought that I'd offer up a couple of solutions. Well, just one, because I only have one. We've got to all do our part. We've got to all make sure that all of us are feeling safe. Look here. There's little things that we can do. We can monitor each other. We can look out for each other. So it's kind of like mutual aid. If you know that, well, your friend is going to a party, well, why don't you make sure that other people who you might know that are in the close vicinity, make sure that the person gets home safe. You know, we've got to start being creative. We've got to start, preventative measures. Things that prevent the bad thing from happening in the first place. And then when we find out who the bad people are, we got to actually start figuring out how they were able to do it, why they did it. Maybe not motive or their motive, but a motive as to why. We've got to start worrying about our society a little bit more, all of us, and pinching in when we can help. Look here, I'm not much or one for the street. Never been a street owl. But if the streets require safety, well, safety is what they're going to get. But it's a scary hour. And I can be perceived as being scary out on the street. Something to be fearful of. I mean, it's not the norm. So I can perceive me being the one that's perceived as being problematic. Even though I'm not problematic. But that's the way the narrative can be written. So I've got to be quite careful and pick and choose when and where. But this scary hour thing, these bad people, somebody's got to be a sleuth. Somebody's actually got to do the work. Figure out why. That's what we should be asking. Why is there not enough sleuthing going on? Why is there not enough preventative measures taken? It's a shame what happened to Sarah Everard. It's a shame what happens to the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of women and girls that go missing each year. It's a real shame, and we ought to really care about it. But we don't, because the society is still operated and run by, people who identify as being men. And a lot of those people, maybe they're the ones doing the victimizing. Maybe they're the ones that are problematic. It was a police officer who didn't reside in the city. No, he was on the far outskirts. Those people that you least expect. Those are the ones that are the perpetrators. Those are the ones that do all the shady business. The people that they can't touch. Those are the ones that be doing a lot of the problematic things.